Hey fellow modelers, it's Face here reporting to you from the 16th, more or less, annual Island Open model show and contest being held this year at the Mary Widspear Centre in Sydney, BC, just outside of Victoria. It's being put on by the Victoria Scale Modelers Club, and well, it's just after noon and registration is just closed. So pretty much everything that's going to be here for judging is here now. So let's take a look.
Well, this year's show got off to a bit of a slow start in the morning, but by noon the tables had pretty much filled up. The most popular categories, as usual, being armor and automotive, with aircraft bringing up a close third. But the real surprise for me was Sci-Fi. Even without my own entries, there was still a surprising turnout for a usually relatively quiet category. The automotive category was sponsored by the Scale Plastic Automotive Modelers Club of Victoria, also known as SPAM, and showcased some truly amazing works this year, from out-of-box builds to heavily modified kits. Conventional street cars to street rods, choppers, and Batmobiles. Possibly the highlight for me was a 2008 Ford Mustang, modified with gull-wing doors, a super detailed interior, a split barn door style hood, and new engine from a '66 Ford Fairlane. Other unique models included an 80s era Ford F-250 extended cab pickup with a scratch-built canopy, camper, and a canoe. The automotive humor subcategory wasn't so busy this year, but the highlight had to be the super deformed Volkswagen surfer van.
The antenna. I added little things in here. I started improvising, like motors for the propellers.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, underneath.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. I didn't really list it, and then to me they're two lost German tourists. You know, they always end up in the wrong place.
2010 is the 100th anniversary of the Canadian Navy, and to commemorate this auspicious occasion, the Victoria Scale Modelers set aside a special trophy for Best Naval Subject. Competitors included a trio of German U-boats in various scales, a beautifully rendered USS Missouri battleship in 350th scale, and a simply stunning diorama of the aircraft carrier USS Kitty Hawk. Not all naval entries were ironclads, however. Among the most unique entries was Christopher Columbus's lead ship, the Santa Maria.
So, how are you enjoying the show so far?
It's absolutely fabulous.
Yeah? Well, glad to have it back for another year. Did you enter anything in the show this year?
Two things. Sci-Fi entered Raider, Warhammer Raider.
Oh, that was yours?
Yeah, which did very well. And also Armor, 125th or 135th or larger. Got a bronze in that, so that was good. So,
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, we're pretty pleased. Yeah.
So, do you have any specific kind of niche area that you like to model, or do you just do a little bit of everything?
Mostly armor, actually, and some aircraft. But I'll verge into anything that I choose, but mostly armor, aircraft, Canadian subjects.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
and I'm also the treasurer of the Victoria Scale Modelers.
Oh, well,
I take
that's
care of all the finances.
it's very good to know. So, good to know that our money is in good hands.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much.
Anyone who knows me or has watched any of my videos knows that I have a soft spot for sci-fi. In fact, every one of my entries this year was in that category. So imagine my surprise when I discovered that mine was not the only 350th scale refit Enterprise to be entered in the show this year. In fact, it wasn't even the only one with to have lighting effects. Apart from my Enterprise, I entered both my Hasegawa Macross fighters, as well as my lighted runabout, and my fine mold snowspeeder. Other entrants included a very impressive Land Raider from Warhammer 40,000, and a couple of other Star Wars kits.
So how are you enjoying the show so far?
Having a blast.
Yeah? Well, it's good to know. It seems like a pretty good turnout so far this year. So tell us, what did you bring to the show for this year?
My entry was the Batcave.
Oh, the Batcave.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, what can you tell us about it?
Well, 2.5 years in the making, with my wife's permission. Only because she wouldn't let me build full scale one in the garage. And,
did the 1,000-year atomic batteries actually function?
No, they lasted about 6 hours.
Oh, that's a bugger. I know what that's like. All right. What else kind of model work do you like to do?
I'm basically comic book, superhero, horror. Throw in the occasional car kit, usually some sort of TV or movie related. Star Trek. That's pretty much it.
Did you bring anything else to the show that wasn't for competition?
I got a display over against the wall there of a bunch of comic-related Flash, 2 Flashes, 2 Green Lanterns, the Dracula, Frankenstein, Fantastic Four, Justice League of America, just for a few.
That's good to know. All right, well, thank you very much.
As with any show, there's always someone with stuff to sell, and this year was no exception. There were 4 large tables with tons of models, aftermarket parts, books, videos, and everything else under the sun for sale. I myself had my eye on a couple of rare AMT Star Trek kits, but ultimately left empty-handed. My bank account was much happier that way.
I see you two fellas are running one of the dealers' tables this year. How's it been?
It's been very well. It's gone very well.
Yeah? Been selling quite a few old kits?
Yeah, some not so old kits. Probably 50% of what I brought.
Oh, right on. Well, that's good to hear.
I've sold about 80% of what I brought.
Oh, wow. Oh, I see most of your Macross stuff looks like it's all gone.
Yeah, somebody made a deal. I took everything off.
Deals to be made.
Oh, right on. Well, that's good to know that it's easy to get a good deal here. Did either of you bring anything to enter in the show?
I did not.
I did.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Tell us what you brought.
An armor modeler, so I brought in a couple of armored cars, a couple of artillery pieces, and a couple of light tanks.
Excellent. All right, well, I hope you're both enjoying the show and you end up turning a bit of a profit.
Thank you.
All right.
The armor category, as usual, was the largest. But surprisingly, the diorama subclass had almost as many entries as the rest of the category put together. Some were small and relatively uncomplicated. Others were extremely large and detailed, with numerous figures and points of interest. Among my favorites were a group of Canadian soldiers resting against the wreck of a German tank, and a Vietnam-era multi-level display featuring Viet Cong troops hiding in an underground bunker, while American troops unknowingly walk immediately above their heads. Among the large-scale entries were a 16th scale Tiger I with full RC setup with a functional cannon and machine gun. And an even larger Tiger II, which I was informed started its life as a large action figure playset. Not wanting to leave the little ones out on all the fun, the club, sponsored by BC Shaver and Hobbies, was able to donate a number of entry-level kits for the kids to build while at the show. They were able to build at their leisure, tools were provided, and when finished, they could take their newly crafted model home with them. It's always nice to see the younger generation getting involved.
So, as head judge, what criteria do you follow for judging an entry?
Being as this is not a really national event, we basically keep it to the basics. Construction, make sure there's no like fogged windows, blue spots showing seam lines, mold lines, ejector pin marks.
So, as a modeler, what sort of niche do you fall into? Like, what is your particular area?
I do armor and dioramas a lot now. I used to be heavily into race cars. Years ago, I started NASCAR kits, and then into the World Rally Championship cars. I had built so many of those, I just wanted to change the pace, picked up an armor kit for like $10, put it together. Next thing you know, I was getting some figures for it, and I had my first scene. And then I just basically went from there, and that was probably about 10 years ago.
Right on. And how did you find the show this year? Did you enjoy yourself?
The show was a little bit stressful this year.
As I can imagine.
This is my second year being the head judge, and first year was very smooth. This year there was I had a lot of great help from all the other judges and everybody else helping out. There was some issues that are going to have to be addressed at our next meeting. Otherwise, it was very, very good. Around 11 o'clock, it was looking a little scary because the tables were looking a little bit empty, but it filled up pretty quick, so I'm very happy.
All right, well, I'm glad to hear that. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Well, that's it for another year. Show's winding down. See everybody starting to box up all their stuff. The awards have all been given out. Didn't win a trophy this year, but, well, there's always next year. So, to everyone out there, thank you for watching, and happy modeling.